do you feel about this offense? You guys have really worked hard in the offseason, spring, and now fall camp. How do you feel going into the Bucknell game?
Yes, sir. I feel pretty good. I think a lot of guys have put in the time and the work, and really built up that confidence and belief in ourselves. It's feeling pretty good.
What a difference a year makes. Last year, you were battling to become a starter. You would eventually quickly become a starter during the season. What's it been like for you going into your senior season as a starter right now, as a leader on this offensive line?
It's been a lot of fun. Really just been focusing on trying to bring up the younger guys up to speed and help them get to where they want to be.
When you look at this makeup of this offensive line, it seems like you guys have really built on what you did last year, but with Coach Guillermo, what he's brought, how do you like that dynamic of building on what you did last year, but also the newness of what you're doing with him this year?
I really like what we're doing. I think it poses a lot for the teams we're playing and the defense. And I love Coach's energy that he's bringing. So just working every day.
And finally, what's the biggest difference that you're doing technique-wise and blocking-wise with Coach Guillermo and also Coach Cronic?
So it's a different philosophy of football. I'm in a more of a traditional stance for most of our plays. So just using my hands a lot more, and then really being able to read the defense.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Flagged.
So Brent, what did the experience you got of starting 11 games last year? How did it help you, and how does it benefit you this going into this year? You've got to feel immensely more confident going into this year than maybe your first start last year.
Yes, sir. I think the biggest thing, like you said, is the confidence and having the belief in myself to know that I did it last year, being able to go back and seeing what I'm capable of and knowing where I can go with the effort.
Talk a little bit about the wing T offense. What do you think of what Coach Cronic's doing? I mean, you've been part of the triple option for your first 3 years with the program, now transitioning. What do you think of this wing T, and do you think it could be an exciting offense that Navy fans will love?
Yes, sir. I really love it. I think it'll be really exciting, really focusing on running the ball. I love Coach Cronic's play calling, and I think we have a lot of potential for big explosive plays.
We did a little film session with him, the members of the media, and without giving away state secrets, I mean, there are still a lot of triple option elements. Is that kind of easing the transition in that it's not been wholesale changes? A lot of what you're doing is similar to what you've done in the past.
Yes, sir. I think it really has eased the transition. I think the coaches have done a great job with that as well, the transition, putting a lot of effort in, putting a lot of time in with the players to make sure that transition goes smoothly.
Coach Guillermo was talking about, Coach Cronic had told me back in the spring that he thought the transition to the wing T was most difficult for the offensive linemen because they're asked to do different things. Then Coach Guillermo talked about you have to have a more balanced stance because you're not always forward leaning coming off the ball. Sometimes you're in pass block mode. Can you talk about the adjustment for the offensive line, and has been rather significant to try to transition?
Yes, sir. So I think the biggest transformation or transition, like you said, was our stance. So I think with that just took a lot of repetition, and a lot of trying it different ways to figure out what works different for each offensive lineman. So just a lot of repetition kind of allowed us to figure out the sweet spot.
Last for me before I turn it over to Gary, playmakers, obviously Coach Cronic, he's going to get the balls in the hands of the playmakers. You got proven guys like Alex Texa, Eli Heidenreich, and Daba Fofana. You're hoping Nathan Kent becomes a weapon at wide receiver. They try to incorporate the tight end. What do you think of the skill position players, and are you seeing these guys making plays in preseason camp?
Yes, sir. I think we have a lot of guys making plays, a lot of guys that you listed and other guys as well. we try to help put them in the best position possible in order for them to make plays, be one-on-one with the safety or something like that. And just having a lot of trust in them because they have made plays, and having trust in them that they will continue to make those plays.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Lambert. You're muted, Gary.
You got me?
You're
Yes,
good.
sir.
Good. Sorry. Brent, appreciate you being here. I got a question about Daba. I'm writing a piece on him. Give me an idea of some of the pieces that you've seen kind of come together with this young man throughout your time there, and that point to the fact that, yeah, he most definitely is a captain.
So every time I've seen Daba, whether it be a weekday or weekend, he's always either on the field or in the weight room or helping guys study. And I think that kind of shows how that's built throughout his time here and how it's developed him. He's probably one of the hardest working teammates I have. He's really selfless, helping guys study, especially the younger we were in classes like chemistry and physics and so on. He's just a guy that's willing to put in all the time and help anyone that he can.
Well, being a man studying applied physics, that kind of puts him sort of a leg up on a lot of players, or am I going too far with that in terms of his
I think
academic acuity?
I think he definitely had better class or more classes when it came to certain things like physics that allowed him to know more and then offer help to other players.
Right. What about his development? The things you saw him do 2 years ago when he was getting a whole lot of reps, and how he's handled Alex emerging, and hopefully the two of them are looking at this year as a two-headed sort of monster that has its chance to make a lot of plays each and together.
Yes, sir. I think that's how we all see it. I think that's how he sees it too. Is Alex is also a great player. Daba is as well, and I think they really go together very well. So I don't think he sees it as like a threat or anything. Like I said, he's one of the selfless guys. I think he wants to see Alex succeed as much as he does. And so I think we're all hoping that they'll both have a great season.
All right. Thank you, Brent.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Pete, Matt Hurst.
Brent, a lot of different voices over the last couple of years for you guys. It's a rarity around here. But how have you all navigated that? More importantly, right now, how different is the verbiage? As someone that makes line calls, is it that drastically different from what you've been doing, or pretty much the same?
There's a lot of similarities into it. There's some things here that are different, some things here that are pretty much the same. I think a lot of it was just going into putting in the time in the film room and the playbook and getting lots and lots of reps over spring ball and camp.
We kind of, we know you guys go through drills all the time, footwork, we're moving this way, we're moving that way. But just getting out there, the football part of it, moving in unison as a group, how important is that to get as many reps as you all possibly can, certainly with all the different potential combinations that you all might have out there as linemen as well?
Yes, sir. Getting those reps is huge. I was talking to one of the plebes during camp. It's really important, especially for offensive line, for everyone to be on the same page. Going against our defense, they do a lot of moving and stemming. Sometimes they'll stem right before we snap the ball. So through those reps, we all have to know we're on the same page of combinations or the defense moving, and that would change a backside combination to a play side and where we're going. So just making those mistakes early on and learning from them and talking to each other about what we see and what we expect helps us fix that.
How do you best describe, in the short time you've had a chance to build some relationship here, how do you best describe Coach Guillermo?
A fireball energy. He brings energy every day, no question. And I think he expects greatness from us and has no problem pushing us to be the best who we can be.
Your brother went through this too. To be able to have that bond, be able to share that lineage with him, carry it on, certainly for your family. Obviously, you didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time with each other on the team, but just being able to follow in those footsteps and continue on the Self lineage there. What's that meant to you guys?
For me personally, it means I'm playing for a lot more than just myself. I'm playing for him and what he built here and everything that he cares about for the program as well, and all those guys that he was with and the guys before him. So to me, it proves to me that it's a lot more than just about me. It's about all the guys who are in the program currently, who went before and laid that foundation.
You came out of high school at a really wacky time in all of this. Obviously, the Naval Academy was the choice. Was that a difficult choice? And how did you end up here in particular?
No, sir. So I remember when my brother first got recruited here, I thought it was a school on a boat and they taught you how to sail at the time. And then seeing his journey through here with the school and the football team and the coaches and how much they cared for him, and just the opportunities that opened up, I fell in love with this school and the program. And so when I did get my offer, I think it was after like a junior day camp visit thing, I knew this is where I wanted to go.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Go one more trip around. Scott Wyckoff.
Brent, how tough is Connor McMahon, and what's it like not only being a teammate of his playing on the offensive line with him, but also being a classmate?
Yes, sir. So he's probably one of the toughest guys I know. He's gone through a lot of injuries and just annoying things coming up. And he's always been reliable and dependable. And I say he's the same way as a classmate as well.
How important is it for you guys to get off to a good start this season? Throughout your career, I know there have been some early season stumbles, and you guys have built as the season goes on. But how important is it just to get out to a good start your senior season?
Yes, sir. I think it'd be huge to get the momentum rolling, a lot of confidence in what we're doing and how we're doing it. I think it's really important. It's huge.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Flags.
So a lot of people think of the wing T as a high school offense, kind of an archaic offense. Obviously, Coach Cronic has developed this thing over the years. This is an offense he's crafted, created. Can you talk about, there's a lot of innovative elements, don't you think?
Yes, sir. I say we're doing a lot of different things with a lot of different motions, a lot of different schemes, as in pulling and getting different people to do different things, which I think will be exciting for a lot of people who are expecting one thing, but I think they'll get something totally different.
So obviously, Coach Cronic wants to throw the ball a little bit more and be very effective. You're going to have to be efficient throwing the ball. That pass protection is critical. That's not always something that's been a Navy strength during the triple option years because so much of the focus was on going forward, run blocking. How do you feel the offensive line is coming along with regard to pass blocking? Have you been able to prevent the defense from breaking in the backfield to cause havoc? Get sacks.
Yes, I feel pretty confident in it. Yeah, that's something that we were challenged with Coach Cronic coming in, and I think we've raised to that challenge. Just working a lot and being very specific on what we're working on every day in practice and the drills and carrying that over.
Do you know how many times you've been called numbnuts by Coach Guillermo?
Countless times, countless.
That's one of his favorite terms, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good for me, Brent. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Pete. You're muted, Pete.
Yeah. I trying to click the button. Brent, as a whole, where do you guys think you're at right now as an offensive line from a chemistry standpoint? And how much game time do you think it will be before you guys maybe hit that full stride right now?
Yes, sir. I think we're pretty far along as of right now. I mean, we returned 4 of 5 starters. And so I think we're pretty good along. Spring ball and camp really helped push us where we needed to be. And I don't think we really need that much time in order to be where we really want to be and where we think we can go with that chemistry.
You're a Texas high school product. What is it about that state that just makes football players, I don't want to say it's like a factory, but if you come from that state, you tend to have a really good chance to play at the next level. What was it about Byron Nelson that helped you get to this level?
For me, I think it was my offensive line coach at the time, Coach Leonard. He put a lot of time and effort into me and really showed that he cared and pushed me to go above where I thought I could go. And I think that's one of the differences is the coaching down there.
No doubt about that. I mean, at what age did you start playing football?
I've started playing for as long as I can remember. I really don't have an age. I've always been playing flag football and then up.
What are you hoping to see and really looking forward to seeing from the offense on Saturday?
Points or score. No, I mean, just us to be able to go out and play wide open, and be sharp in our processes, not shooting ourselves in the foot, taking care of the ball, the cliche stuff, but, just being able to go out and play free and play in attack mode. If you make a mistake, make it full speed. Don't make it, go out there to win. Not, we're not playing to keep from losing, and not worried about making mistakes. Like I said, if you make a mistake, let's make it wide open, and really go out and execute, and it's always interesting, because you go into that opening game, and I'm sure they've made, we've watched a lot of last year's stuff on Bucknell, and but you never know exactly how they're going to line up, and so just another thing would be just being able to adjust, being able to get out there and adjust.
What's impressed you the most about this unit through the spring and fall camp?
I think just the buy-in, the positivity, the kids, I think, are enjoying what we're doing. I think they believe in what's going on. Now we need to you solidify that by going out and executing in a game. That's what gives you confidence, being able to be prepared and go out and execute at a high level. But these kids have been a joy to be around. I love being here with them. Love the people I work with, love the guy I work for. So that part's just been really positive, the way the guys have gone about their business and practiced and worked to get better. And you can see it's important to them. I like our players, and I want to see them be successful. It's very, that's just really important to me to put them in good situations and see them have success.
And how much are you looking forward to the new dynamic of having the headset communications with your quarterback?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, it's a new thing, and it makes some things easier. Now, obviously, you can't count on that because you got to be prepared to not have it because things can go wrong sometimes. But I think it gives the ability just to and you don't want to over communicate either, right? You don't want to, I got the quarterback on the, hey man, look for this, and this. You just want to be able to, have good communication, get the play in. Maybe remind them of something. Maybe it's a situation, that you just remind them, hey, just remember we're third in this, or this is, what we saw in the red zone last time. Just one little thought, and then get out of their way and let them play. So I think it's really to help communicate, and maybe, hopefully, it makes for a better product. That, and with the iPad, with the technology to be able to see some of the, some film at that time, hopefully, it helps for, us to execute better and see what people are doing and give the kids a good chance.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes.
Gary Lambrick.
Hey, Coach Gary Lambrecht, NavySports.com. doing a piece on Daba. And I'm wondering if you could just talk about the position and how that's coming along, and from the standpoint of the strategy that you've expressed, that we want to get both of these guys on the field and more than just a little, if we can.
Yeah, I think it's very important offensively, especially in what we do, to be too deep at the skill positions. Okay, where you have two guys who can make plays, who can do things, who can execute what we're doing and do it at a high level. So I think obviously with Daba and with Alex, I feel really good about that. Those kids are proven. They've proven in games that they can be successful. And Daba's really shown. Daba specifically he had a really good scrimmage a couple weeks ago. Just was just really sharp. Great leadership. He's team captain. And he's really a strong runner. He's hard to get on the ground, so he's just been playing well. He understands what we're doing. He's extremely intelligent. So he and Alex together, and Alex has played well too. I mean, I feel like that is a strength of our offense, or those two kids being able to be a nice 1-2 punch there.
Well, we know that Dava's pretty smart in a lot of ways with the applied physics. I mean, get me away from that. And the GPA he's got in that focus, and just his the way he bounced back from his position changing a little bit last year, and just all kinds of those things. What about his football smarts? The subtle things, the way the coachability that he has.
Extremely intelligent. You don't really have to tell him something more than once. He picks up things. He understands football. Sometimes really, really smart kids don't understand football. They just he's both. He is able to be coached. He learns. He sees film. He asks the right questions. Okay, you can tell a lot about a kid from the questions that he asks. So he is an extremely intelligent football player, no question.
What about what you've learned about a whole lot of guys in your first year? But when you look at his personality and what he brings to the locker room, and of course, the captain responsibilities and all that, those things that we don't see, the intangibles, could you get into those a little bit about that young man?
Yeah, I mean, you don't ever have to, you can count on him, right? You don't have to worry about him. Most of our guys, I mean, when you're here at the Naval Academy, most of our guys, they're supposed to be doing, but you can really count on, you can almost take him a little bit for granted, and because he is where he's supposed to be doing what he's supposed to be doing. And the other guys on the team really respect him and trust him. Trust is a very important thing in what we're doing and what they're doing on a daily basis, not just with us, but, and all the activities they're involved in here. So I think he's a guy who embodies what we want our program to be about. He's tough. He's smart. He's disciplined. He's a good teammate, and you can trust him. You can count on him. So that's who we want to be. And he embodies that.
Thank you, Coach.
Let's go to Joe Miller, Navy Radio.
Hey, Coach. I was looking over some of the numbers from last year, and third down was a big issue for Navy's offense, and not specifically about what they did last year, but as far as you're concerned, when you look at a team that's good on third down, what are the kind of traits that you're looking at, and what are you focusing in on those third down situations?
Yeah, and honestly, I tie third down a lot with red zone as well. Being able to finish drives. So I think it's understanding, what we're trying to accomplish, and we spend time now on third down, staying on the field, and then finishing drives in the red zone. So, with our team, there's a lot of times, depending on where you're on the field, it changes kind of maybe what you might do. Maybe you don't mind getting yourself in a 4th and 1. You know what I mean? You want to give yourself a chance to execute in those situations. So you got to be able to mix it up on third down. You got to understand, what they're going to do defensively. And there's got to be a high level of execution on every down, but obviously third down is critical. And to be successful on third down, you need to do a pretty good job on first and second down. You don't need to be in a lot of third and longs, so 3rd and 4 is much easier to call than 3rd and 12. I promise you that. So just putting yourselves in good, manageable situations where you're not one dimensional, right? Where you can still be, you can run it, you can throw it, you can attack downhill, you can attack the perimeter. That's what you got to create those situations for yourself. And obviously we'd love to never be in a 3rd down, but the 3rd downs you get into need to be, downs where we can attack a lot of different things. And then obviously in those situations, you got to hit the open target. If you're throwing it, you got to catch the football. And then when you're blocking on the perimeter, you got to have great leverage. I mean, all the things we talk about are enhanced in those moments, because those are the downs that keep you on the field, right? We don't want to punt. But then there's times where it's okay to punt. We got to be okay with not forcing a bad situation too, right? And I think we have a really good defense, and so I think it's times where, hey, let's flip the field, let's get the ball down there. Our defense will hold them. We'll get the ball back in a good spot. So it's all those things, being able to play complementary football, but we certainly need to get in manageable situations on 3rd down so we can kind of have the whole playbook in front of us.
Wanted to ask you about how you go about setting up a game plan from the perspective, in the past, especially running true triple optional. You talk to the offensive coaches, and a lot of times they were like, we don't really script plays. Let's see what the defense does first, and then we'll adapt as the game goes along. As far as your philosophy, do you like to script plays? How do you set up your game plan as far as not just, this week against Bucknell, but going forward, what is your sort of philosophy around that?
I think it's a little bit of both. There's certain things we want to get called early. Okay. But then there's also certain things that you need to see how they're gonna line up, because it's you prepare for what you see on film, right? You prepare for whatever defense you feel like is their base defense, and then everybody's got probably a base front and then a second front that they like. Everybody's got a couple coverages they like, and everybody's got a couple blitzes that they like, okay, on their defense. And then situationally, they have a few things they like in long yardage, right? And a few things they like in short yardage. A few things they like down inside the 10, a few things they like on the goal line. So you want to be able to adjust to what people are doing, but we are still unusual, with some of our formations and things. So you don't always know, because other teams don't line up in some of the same looks that we will, so you don't always know, or have a good tendency of how they're going to line up. So you've got to be able to adjust. So I think you go in there thinking, I want to do these certain things. And maybe you do, sometimes we will script, the first 8-10 plays just to say how, see how they're going to line up versus certain formations. And, but then you also got to be able to adjust, and if they're playing something a little different than you thought, do you have some answers, right, to get that done? So you don't want to chase ghosts when you're game planning, but at the same time, you gotta be ready for anything, so have some answers. So I think we have a system that's built to be able to adapt.
You had talked before about the snipes position being sort of two separate positions within your offense. Can you just sort of briefly sort of break down what you're looking from each different part of that position group?
Yeah, I mean, over the years in the true triple, the double slide offense, your two A backs, were kind of the same guy, right? They were pretty interchangeable, and sometimes there was just a left one and a right one, and it just depended on whose system it was and how they wanted to do it. Our snipes, our Z snipe is, we probably want him to be a little longer, a little heavier, because of some of the things we're asking him to do. And but they also do some of the same things as well. So both those positions are hybrid positions. They're going to line up all over the place. But you'd love, we wanted to, here as we recruit, we certainly want to get a little longer, a little bigger, but that's not always the case. We need playmakers. That's still the bottom line, is the kids make plays. And so you want to get your best. The bottom line about offense is you want to give it to the right guy behind the right blocker, or throw it to the right guy, in the right situation. And so that's when we look at those snipes, that's kind of, as we look at the body types, we want that Z snipe to maybe be a little bit bigger, have a little more weight to him. But some of them little 170-pound guys can do it well too, So it's really just finding the right kid who can execute what you want to do with those two positions.
Thanks, Coach.
Pete Medhurst, Navy Radio Network.
Coach, I was looking at a couple of different play callers, some on the pro level, some on the college level, who seemingly have a lot of verbiage in their play calls. Scott asked you earlier about the voice mechanism in the helmet. Now, how conscious are you, when you construct play verbiage, of trying to get it out succinctly? Obviously something that hopefully the quarterback can understand, because then he as a clock is running, has to succinctly give it to the guys in the huddle, or one word missed could result in the play's destruction.
Sure. We want to be very conscious of that, as we, I guess, construct our system, right, and then adapt throughout the season. If it's taken me a long time to call it, I probably need to change the name of it. Okay, and that's been times over the years where, because more verbiage gives you more flexibility, right? The ability to add a little tag to the play and move a guy somewhere, or change up a responsibility. But it's also another word. So when a play is going to get pretty lengthy, we try not to, I don't want to sound like John Gruden out there, right? Just some of his stuff, it's like, holy cow, and we're not dealing with NFL guys here. We're dealing with guys who, have a full day of other stuff before they get over here. So our job is to keep it as simple as possible for our kids. Now, our kids are extremely bright. They learn very well. So we don't have to, quote unquote, dumb it down or anything. But at the same time, you don't want to, I don't want to put myself in a situation where one word that I might maybe forget to say, puts the kids in a bad situation. So we do want to be very, very aware of a play call being too long, and then let's adapt that play call. We still might want to get that play run, but maybe give it a little different name, so try to help the quarterback out.
Yeah, we all live for the Pro Right 26 throwback days. Real easy. I asked PJ this from the defensive side. I'll ask you from the offensive side. As you examine defenses, and you talked a little bit about it a couple questions ago, but do you see much base defense as much as we maybe see base defenders now? Because each defense seems to have a playmaker or two that they, move all around the field if they're lucky enough to have one. Do you see much base defense anymore, where, the days of it was a 3-4 or it was a 4-3 or it was a 52 or 4-4, whatever? Do you still see much of that, or has it become more situational now?
I think in general, overall in college football, it's pretty situational. And I think, they're trying to get, say they're going to put a dime package in there on 3rd and long. Well, they want to get the right pass rushers in there, the right cover guys, for the situation. On 1st down, you get more of a base defense, base coverages, thinking, stop the run first, those kind of things. For us as an offense, I still think we're going to see more times than not more base defenses because of what we do. But that still remains to be seen. There's always, we always have said in the past, I think teams defend better when they run their base packages. Okay. Cause their kids understand it, right? They've been executing that package. I think when you start asking people to do something different, sometimes it can be a little bit much. You try to tweak too much, in 4 days of practice, to adapt to who you're playing against. So I think, we'll see people's, we prepare for what people do in their base things, and situate, 3rd and long is a little different because, they're expecting you to throw the football. But I still think we'll see a lot of, just base type fronts with like I said, a blitz or two here and there, or a coverage or two. That's what I think.
Just from a coaching standpoint, the first 8 months on the job, it's been the greatest challenge that maybe you've faced and had to work harder to overcome in the first 8 months on the job here.
You said what's the can you ask that again? I missed the first part.
The biggest challenge you faced over the first 8 months of the job here, just from a football standpoint, what's maybe the greatest challenge you've had to overcome in the first 8 months?
That's
if
a great
any.
question. That's a great question. I don't know. I've had such a great experience here. You know, that the good so far outweighs the things that are more challenging. I can't say that there's more challenges. You know, here the young men have a lot on their plate. Okay, so you got to be aware of that, and you got to be cognizant of letting them be able to decompress some, you know, and trying to make, when they come over here, man, it's fun over here, right? It's intense and there's high expectations, all those things, but we want them to come over here and be able to fly around, knock each other around, and let this be their therapy time sometimes, you know what I mean? You know, so I don't know. I'm sure I'll probably be able to answer that question a little better after the season. Okay. And because that's what, you know, you get presented some, you know, when the bottom line is you're trying to be successful. But I believe in these kids. I believe that they've worked their tail off. They've come a long way. Now we're in some processes. Winning, you learn how to do, you learn what winners do. Okay. And what they do day in and day out. And then you need to solidify that by having success. Okay. And that's, you know, and those things, and winning is so fragile and it's so fickle, you know, because the game is affected by so many things, you know, whether it's injuries, you know, just whatever, you know. So I'm having a great time here. But I'm sure that the challenges are going to present themselves all over the place. And I guess maybe for me now going into a season, it's my first time, you know, seeing some of these opponents, right? And most are all of these opponents really. And, you know, is going to be week in and week out is learning. Cause once you've been at a place 3 or 4 years, it becomes a chess match really, because if you see the same coordinators each year and hey, they defended us this way last year, or, you know, defended us this way 2 years ago, and you become familiar, which also presents another set of challenges, right? What are they going to tweak? You know, what are they going to do here? What are we going to do there? So I'm sure as the season goes on, that'll be, you know, the part for me is seeing, you know, new coordinators every week, and you know, and being able to try to put a, you know, a plan together that gives our kids the best chance to be successful. That's what we want to do. Just get those kids in good situations. And so I'm sure that's probably the thing I say I stress out about the most. It is so important to me to give these kids, these young men, the best chance to be successful. It's just so important to me. They deserve to be successful. They deserve to win. Everything that's asked of them, the challenges they've chosen to be, you know, here at the academy, but, you know, academically, you know, from a service standpoint, you know, these guys are winners, and I want them to have the opportunity to win on Saturdays, you know. So that's where I maybe put the most pressure on myself, is just, you know, man, let's get these guys a situation where they can celebrate in that locker room at the end of the game.
Thanks, sir.
Wags.
I was getting worried this session was going to run out before I could ask a question. Coach, do you feel, I don't want to say pressure, responsibility, but this is the first time in 21 years the Navy has not run the true triple option that Paul Johnson brought to Annapolis? You know, this is going to be, fans are waiting to see what exactly this new wing tee is going to be all about.
Yeah, I think I do. I feel a sense of responsibility there, you know, and I believe in what we're doing. I believe in our players. But I also have to remind myself that these are processes. Okay. And we got to take, you know, one step here and one step there, and, you know, give these guys a chance to get better, you know, every week, you know. So there's going to be a lot of challenging defenses to play. There's going to be some really good players we face. We're going to see some really good players this weekend. These kids that we're getting ready to play at Bucknell are coming here, want to play some ball. I'm telling you, they're going to come in here and be excited about playing us, and you You know, I was watching them on film last year, man, they play hard. And, you know, so yeah, you know, there's a part of me. It's very important to me to go be a good, sharp offensive football team. Okay. And our kids to be able to do that and to be well coached. You know, I got an ego just like anybody else does. I want people to go, man, that guy's doing a good job, you know, with those kids and putting them in situations they can be successful. But I also got to be patient with it and keep going through processes. We're going to be, certainly we're going to be better 3 weeks from now, you know, and then better 8 weeks from now, and then better next. I mean, you want to be able to continue to improve. You know, so the main thing is going to be our guys believing in what we're doing and believing in me and trusting this staff. And I think they do. But they're also going to have to do that when there's a storm this fall. Okay. And when there's difficulties, where it ain't going exactly your way, are you still going to hang on to those things? Are you still going to battle through that? And so it's really, when it boils down to it, it ain't about me. You know, it's about these young men and, you know, them being confident and them being able to go out there to execute at a high level. So, but yeah, there is a sense of responsibility is can what we're doing work here? You know, that's what everybody wants, you know, is triple option, true triple option, the only thing that'll work at an academy. So I think what we're doing has enough of that flavor to make people have to defend us in some similar ways. But hopefully we can be a little more dynamic, be able to do a few more things and have success. But I mean, Wags, you've watched us practice. Hopefully you think we can do something. I don't know, man.
I like what you're doing.
So, but I'm excited. I'm very encouraged. You know, but the bottom line is you got to go execute during a 60-minute football game on a Saturday. Okay. And that's when it matters, right? We can do everything we're doing during the week and in the scrimmages and all that. I think we've been challenged by our defense. We got a great defense. They do a lot of things, you know, which challenges us on a daily basis. So I think that was good for us. And there, you know, a lot of days we went toe to toe with those guys. So I'm really proud of that. But you still got to put it on the field Saturday from 12 to 3. Okay, that's what you got to do. And I'm hoping our young men are ready to trust that, you know, and to go do that with great confidence and be able to put mistakes behind them, you know, and have fun out there playing together. That is my hope and my prayer.
So you had talked about the percentage of your offense that you've installed. Where are you now? And do you just say, that's it for now, we'll get to installing the rest of this or whatever else I want to install next spring?
I probably got too much in, to be honest with you. But I think we've got, I think it becomes really about how does the evolution take place during the season. Okay. And so you got your starting place, which is, I feel like we've gotten in what we need to go play our first game. And then as you go throughout the season, you know, there's some things that don't change, right? And then there's some things that just, they only change maybe from the defensive perspective. What smoke and mirror have we put on it, right? So I think that's how you evolve throughout the season is what's the next answer or the next thing off of this look, you know, and that's where over the years I think we've been able to be pretty creative. But the bottom line is we still got a few plays that they got to work. You know, our base plays, we got to go be successful run those base plays. And so I think there's a good mixture of that. And then I'll also, you know, and us as coaches, we'll get a feel throughout the season who's making plays, right? And so then what do you do offensively? You start building more towards, hey, it's more about who's getting the ball, you know, and seeing those guys play in those pressure situations. And so their body of work begins to kind of flavor how you call a game and how you design a game plan. You know, so we'll kind of see I think I kind of know who those guys are, you know, but I want to see it in the uniforms out there on Saturday, you know, and then it evolves as we go based on all those factors.
During the spring, you were really thin at wide receiver because Nathan was doing track and so many of the other guys were injured. You're still thin at wide receiver. You got a converted linebacker third on the depth chart. You got a converted quarterback atop the depth chart, and Nathan, who obviously did not participate in spring ball. How comfortable are you with the wide receiver position and its ability to be a weapon in your offense?
I have every reason to believe right now that it's going to be a dang good weapon. Now, like I said, those kids got to go do it on the field. But I'm really pleased with Nate, with Kent. He has consistently caught the football. And you all know he can run. So, he's I've been very pleased with him. And then Luke Hutchison moving out there. He's still learning, but you can see the athleticism. And I really am excited about those two guys and what they can become. So and then you certainly, you try to do some things with Heidenreich to move him around, to put him in those situations as well with Chat as well. Just getting those guys in space. There's different ways to do it. And but at our X position, I feel like that both Kent and Luke have shown me enough for me to be very encouraged.
Should I ask another question, or you want to? What do you want
We
to
have time for one more question, probably. Go ahead, Wags. You can take it.
I guess Blake Horvath, is he ready to operate this offense? Do you feel confident that he can be the trigger man that you need?
Yeah, I do. I got a lot of faith in Blake. I got a lot of faith in Braxton too. But they still need to show it in this moment Saturday. Okay. And so it's hard for me to say and go, oh yeah, no problem. But at the same time, I mean, you guys have been at practice. You've seen there's been a lot of good, and they have a high ceiling. Now there's processes to, Blake had been a triple option quarterback his whole life. Right. So he has come miles just from a fundamental standpoint, throwing the football, the ability to get himself in positions and read coverages, and extremely smart. I'm excited. I want to see him go play too. I'm excited to see those guys, execute. But once again, they got to get out there and be prepared and be confident and put mistakes behind them. And, but I certainly feel like those are two guys we can win with.